Hey, are you a tough guy? Are you a bully? Do you get bullied and don't know what to do about it? Are you a parent of a kid that's getting bullied and don't know what to do about it? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today on Grown Man Sessions. My guest today, Danny Castillo, knows a few things about the real tough guys. He's fought in the UFC against some of the best in the world, and now he helps train and coach the next generation of the UFC's best. Let me bring Danny on. What's up, Danny?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on. I know you're real busy, so I really appreciate it. I wanted to know, man. Like I've known you for a really long time, and having seen you like in high school, being so passionate about wrestling, like I just really have to know, man. What was that moment like when you got to the UFC and you were like, dude, I'm here?
I Man, that's a tough question, and I'm a little bit different from other people because I try not to focus on my wins too much,
Mm-hmm.
although I should. And now that I'm a little bit older, I just keep my head down and just try to keep grinding. That's kind of the mentality I have, and your hard work will pay off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think one of the best feelings I've ever had, even though I lost, is having the fight of the night in Sacramento. It's been so long, so it was Arco Arena, which I think they tore it down. But that was one of the best feelings I ever had. Is after the first round, I almost finished my opponent, and here in Sacramento, it was a sold out arena here in Sacramento. Chant my name was just. It's just a feeling that I can't really explain, and that's kind of one of my greatest moments. I mean, I have a lot of moments in my career as a fighter and as a coach and at the college level wrestling, but I think that was one of the best feelings I've ever had
For sure, man.
in
Yeah,
in
I
uh,
mean,
in being an athlete.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you're a dad now too, man. So you know
Yeah,
that's a whole different feeling and whole different set of emotions.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's that's seeing the birth of my first son was just amazing because you don't really know what to expect, and then seeing the birth of my second son, not knowing the sex of a we waited till the baby came out to know exactly what the sex was, and
No
you know uh
way.
yeah, and I got the boy, and it was awesome. My firstborn was Titus, and it was a surprise, the gender, and I was just so happy. And then my second son, Atlas, he was just born 6 weeks ago, and another boy. We waited, and I'm a super happy, super proud dad, and I couldn't ask for anything else.
So no gender reveals, huh?
Nah, no, I think those are corny, but that's just me. And then after that big forest fire that started because of a
Oh
reveal,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, I mean burned up I mean most of Northern California, and I was it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need it. I mean, these days there's no more surprises, and what better surprise than just the sex of your child, and I recommend it if you're having a kid, and some people are super eager to know, but for me, I just it's the same thing. I waited 9 months, just focus on what I could focus on, and whatever came, I was as long as I mean, of course, I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be healthy, and whatever
Right.
came, I was going to be happy no matter what. And
Yep.
it worked out for me because I have two strong boys, and I can't wait to start training and doing all the cool stuff. But they're still young, two and 6 months.
Oh man, congrats, man. Yeah, I'm the same
Thank
way.
you.
10 fingers, 10 toes, man. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Happy and healthy.
Hmm.
Um, I'm curious, man. Like growing up, were you ever bullied in school or maybe anytime along the way?
Um, kind of not. But I wouldn't say I was bullying. I mean, you experience bullying, throughout your life, no matter who you are, no matter how cool you are, if you're the jock or not. There's always going to
Yeah.
be bullying, and sometimes the bullying isn't done by peers. Sometimes the bullying is done by teachers, and
Oh
that's something
yeah.
that's not
Yep.
that's something that's not talked about. Teachers are human also, and just some of the things that they say to kids. I felt like I was bullied by a couple teachers, not being the smartest, or, you know, just kind of the attitude I had as a kid I wasn't thrilled to go to school, and
What
I
kid is,
wasn't,
man?
yeah, I wasn't the best. the best student, but and I definitely had some teachers that would kind of talk down to me and make me feel like I wasn't the smartest or I didn't belong there. And but with the same token, I mean, now looking back, like I feel guilty because I was a bully in some cases, some different grades, and it's something that I look back on and definitely regret. But it's a part of learning, it's a part of growing up, and you know now I try to do my best to avoid that or to promote positivity and not bullying because I know how it can feel. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I was actually on both sides of the coin too growing up. I remember in high school at Laguna Creek High School, some guy tried to bully me, but I mean, I was at the point at that time where I was like, I'm not gonna let him bully me, and I just had to fight back. But yeah, I think bullying, you're right, can be in a bunch of different settings and a bunch of different dynamics. Um, my wife actually tells me a story of a time where she had a teacher that would pretty much bully her because of her weight, and it's something that she still hasn't forgotten, man. Like, I mean, 20 plus years later, I mean, it can really affect some people.
Yeah, and nowadays it's crazy, and now that there's so much media. I mean, there's social media, and with that, like the programs are using the anti-bullying. Like I think that's great, because kids don't forget that kind of stuff, and I never forgot the teacher that called me stupid and the teacher that told me that I wouldn't amount to anything, and those are
Boy,
the
boy,
small.
was he wrong.
Yeah, those are the small wins. When you look back and like, yeah, I made more in 5 minutes than you made in your whole career. Like those are good wins for me, mental wins. But
Right.
it still doesn't take away the trauma that happened to you as a kid, and it affects you. And it's like a little scar that it's an emotional scar. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
got scars all over my hands, but that's a scar in your brain, it's a scar in your heart, and
Hmm.
you know whatever I can do to avoid that or to promote anti-bullying, and like I'm all about it. In fact, I try not to work with children. I only like to work with professionals just because of the level of that I've reached. I prefer
Hmm.
just to work with professionals, but I do some charity work, and there's a kid I work with, the Make a Wish Foundation, and my first wish that we granted was a kid that had he had a heart difficulties and heart problems, and he had like 7 surgeries by the time we got the wish to him. And his wish was to be a ninja, and the Make a Wish Foundation hooked it up. So they had him
Oh,
come and train with me, and we did some training, and then it was just one of the best and coolest things I've ever been a part of. There's helicopters, there was
what?
yeah, there's helicopters. We had it all planned where he went to Golden One Arena and he saved Slamson from a robber. Then we went to ATM. We went to an ATM and he saved an actress who was an old lady, from getting robbed. Then we went all the way to Cesar Chavez Park, where the new police chief, Hans, was locked up in the cage, and he was able to save the police chief, and he basically saved the day. And I'm still in contact with his family, and it was one of the best days he's ever had, and in turn it was one of the best days I ever had. And
Oh
since
man.
then we've this I own a couple of fitness studios, and every year we do our best to raise money to grant these wishes, and we'll be granting 2 wishes this year, and we've granted 3 wishes total. So at the end of next month, it'll be 5 wishes that we've been able to grant, and these are kids who are terminally ill, kids with different ailments, heart problems, cancer. One of the kids, I still talk to him. He's, you just hear about the stories, chemotherapy for, the kid that we're just, his name's Connor, and the wish hasn't been announced, but he stayed in the hospital for 42 weeks. 42 weeks
Oh my
of,
God.
no, not in the hospital, 42 weeks of chemo, but
Oh wow.
he was in the hospital for 3 months. Isolation, no friends, no family. Like his family couldn't even go see this kid, and he's just
Oh,
stuck
it
in the
was during
hospital.
COVID.
No, I think it's just the
The
disease that he had.
protocol.
Yeah, yeah. So they had to
Mm,
keep him away. But after that, he's better now, and they matched the wish up with the people who bought the would pay for the wish, and he was a wrestler before all these before he got cancer, and it's just it's crazy. Those kids are stronger than people think I'm strong because I got locked in the cage and fought dudes. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine being the parent, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a cool thing I've been able to do, and it's something I enjoy. So I've done a lot of bad things in my life. I'm not an angel, but I've done a lot of good things. So hopefully when I get to those pearly gates, they offset a little bit. Um, and
Nah,
yeah.
that's a win right there, man. Those are real wins right there. And those are the real tough guys, in my opinion. Because you're right, man. Like it's got to take a really strong individual and a strong support system to make it through those hard times. And you're doing God's work, man. That's amazing, man. So much respect for that. You touched on cyberbullying, and I think having a 13-year-old and she's always on social media, and I worry, man, that like she's going to be a victim to that because I've heard stories of kids that'll get messages, just random messages of people just talking crap. I mean, they don't even really need to know them personally now. Now they just stumble across them and they just see them and they something that they don't like and they'll point it out and then they could just disappear. It's like, man, like how do you as a dad, man, like I want to go, ring some necks, but at the same time, it's cyberbullying, man. Like I just have to. I talk to my daughter and I try to get her to understand that it's not real and try not to take it personal, but it's hard.
Um, you know, like I said, even though I fought in the UFC a bunch of times and close to 30 fights, professional fights, I still get bullied. It's just different. People don't look at it as bully, but I've been knocked out in my career. You get knocked out in front of your friends and family, you're disappointed because for one, you only get one check. You have to win to get two checks. So not only did I get knocked out, I only get half my money, and then I try to enjoy it. The next day, I jump on Instagram or Twitter, and it's just like, I'm glad you got knocked out. It's just like you suck, all this other stuff, and like I'm already down in the dumps because I lost, and you know, I'm just going back at it, and I find myself in this vicious cycle. They
Hmm.
insult me, and then I'm doing exactly what they're doing. I'm insulting them. So, social media is awesome in a lot of ways because it gets the word out, and that the information you can get off of that is amazing. But at the same time, it's anyone can say anything they want.
Hmm.
A lot of the people to this day, I'm a coach. I'm not even in there, and I still get like, "Oh, you suck as a coach. Your fighter's terrible."
What?
Yeah, like just like stuff about my mom, stuff about my family. Like they look on
What?
my, I'm a public figure, so my Instagram's open, so they see my family. Your family's ugly. Your wife is disgusting. Like blah blah blah. It's all, and still to this day, I've dealt with it because when I started fighting, Twitter was in there, and it was still the same thing.
Oh my
Cyberbullying is the same thing.
God.
You deal with it, and still like after 10 years, after what 13 years now, you would think you'd have tough skin, but there's always someone that says something. I'm just like,
That knows how to get you.
yeah, and I get back on there, I look at their account, I'm like, oh what? And I find myself in that same vicious cycle. So I can't even imagine what it would do to a 13-year-old girl who's not, I mean, social media, they see women, they want to be they want to be the Kim K's of the world. They want to have
Yeah, yeah.
all the fake body parts because that's what sells. That's what other guys envy. And it's
Right.
just, it's that part about social media, that part about internet, that part about being able to reach anyone is the worst. It's terrible. Um, but I mean, you got to look at the bright side. I mean, there's all kinds of cool things that you get to see other people doing incredible things for people, and giving you ideas like, oh man, that guy just helped make a wish happen. That guy fed the homeless. That guy's awesome. I want to be just
Hmm.
like that. But then you have, like anything in life, you have the bad apples, you have the good apples, and it sucks that your daughter went through it or is going through it. But I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. There's
Yeah.
terrible people out there, and our job is, me as a father, our job as parents is to make sure that our kids understand that, and they have
And just
empathy
love
for
them.
other. Yeah, we have if usually the comments that are coming from people like that are people that are miserable about that life. Like, they want to be
Yep.
heard and they want other people to feel how they feel, and that and, and that's how it is. And it's unfortunate, but
And
it's just.
and I don't justify it because like with Alea, she's just dealing with immature people, right? She's just dealing with people that are just young and dumb. And I'm sure like you're dealing with something similar. But the cool part about it is, man, there could be people that are trying to poke you to get a reaction out of you just so that they can get on. Just so that they can say, hey, look what I did to Danny Castillo. Like, and that's how people like they chase clout nowadays that way. It's that whole like Takashi 6ix9ine effect, man. Like they're just little trolls. They're
Man,
trying to make they're trying to make a name off of somebody that has a name.
I could tell you story after story. It's just, I'm sitting on Twitter arguing with a guy about a fight I had 5 7 years ago, and I looked down and I realized, I'm like, Danny, you've been on your phone arguing with a guy who doesn't even have a picture up, who's probably living in his parents' basement using the Wi-Fi from his parents or next door. And that's the person you're arguing with. And I try to catch myself, but I still, after all this time, I find myself victim to it a lot. And sometimes I have fun with it. Like, I'm like, all right, well, let's go. I got time
I got
today.
time
I
today.
got time today. Let's go. But I try to stay away from. I'm gonna be 41 in August, so I gotta set a better example for my kid, because nowadays the crazy thing about it is everything is there. So when my
Yeah,
kid's
yeah.
able to my kid's able to look at the internet, he'll be able to watch this, and maybe he's like, oh, my dad was a good dude, or he'll go over and look at my Instagram from 8 years ago and like, damn, dad, you went bad on that man. And I got I the best thing, people say this a lot, but honestly, the best thing that ever happened to me is me being a father, because I understand I have a huge responsibility,
Mhm.
and I'm enjoying it. My pops wasn't around. He wasn't really around when I was a kid, and I didn't really have positive role models. I didn't have a dad that I loved, and him telling me that, no, son, that's not the right way. Um,
Mhm.
and one thing that I really am a huge proprietor of is lead by example.
So as a parent now, man, if your son were to come up to you, in a couple years from now and say that he's getting bullied, man, like what kind of advice would you give him?
And I've thought about this a bunch. I mean, being a dad, a scared parent, unknown, it's kind of crazy thing, a new parent. And I thought,
Yeah.
maybe I get him some, maybe I give him some clapbacks. Maybe I'd, give him some good ammo, to use against him. But then you think, I mean, what? I'm teaching my son the wrong thing, and there's one thing that I pride myself on, and it's leading by example. So I I think when that problem happens, or it's inevitable. I think it's very rare that someone doesn't get bullied. um, I just think that I would teach them to have pride and respect, and to understand that everything they're saying is not true. If you respect yourself, that if they call you ugly, or they say you're fat, or they say you're closer, know that you're a good person. And I want to instill
Hmm.
self-confidence in my man, self-confidence in both my little guys, that no matter what anyone says, they're confident and they're smart, and they're
Yeah.
proud enough to know that that's not true. That's
Yep.
not true. And
So it
so
doesn't it
that,
doesn't even affect him. It doesn't get to him like that.
yeah, I mean, in theory,
Right.
that's kind of the way I want to go.
Hmm.
And hopefully it works out for the best. But my boys are going to be beasts, so I don't think anyone's going to be making fun of these kids, because they're already wrestling, and they're already like training a little bit, even though he's only 2. But he really enjoys it. So, and I'm not going to teach my kids how to fight, how to wrestle, how to do jujitsu, to use it for the worse.
Right.
My kids don't have to fight, but they have to know how to fight. and that's kind of the
Right.
precedent I'm going to set. Because I'm not always going to be there. So you guys got to know how to protect yourself. You got to know how to protect your mother first and foremost, and all the people that you care about. So that's kind of the angle that I'm going to put. And I think that kids being involved in some sort of martial arts, it doesn't matter if it's one that's kind of like I won't say I don't respect karate, but I don't think karate is the most effective martial arts.
Mm.
But what it does is it gives a kid self-confidence, and it gives the kid the ability to know that to be able to protect himself and to be strong enough mentally and physically to know that stuff like that's not going to bother them. In
Yeah,
theory,
in theory, yeah, I know
yeah.
what you mean. I've actually bought some mats, like some hand pads to go over punches with my daughter, man, because she was dealing with bullying in elementary school, but it's different though with girls, man. Like girls don't bully the way the guys do. Girls do the mean, like in your soul type of like I'm gonna attack your soul type of bullying. So I mean, that's not really anything that I knew how to prepare her for. So I just said, like, if they touch you, like they could say anything they want, but if they touch you, like I'm gonna show you how to throw a punch.
and
Because
it, and it, it
that's all I could think of at the time. Because like, how do you defend against like other than what you said, like teaching them to be confident, respect themselves, and try to not let that stuff get to them. But I'm telling you, man, girls are different, bro.
I was just about to say that. I didn't want to interrupt you, but being a girl dad, it's got to be tough because girls are, I mean, by nature, by physiology,
Biology, yeah,
yeah, they have more estrogen. They're more emotional. Those kinds of things like really affect them. Really affect them. So it's tough, and you know, I really don't have the answer for that. But if I did have a daughter, she'd probably be doing jujitsu and something like that, where it'd bring her some kind of self confidence to help with that. And I'm not saying that that's people are at home that are watching and listening to this. I'm not saying that it's going to fix the problem, but I guarantee learning discipline, having honor, believing in self confidence. I think those are a recipe for positivity and where they're not affected by what other people say.
yeah,
Um, but then again, I don't know. I'm just speculating, and I hope I'm right. And if not, we'll get there. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. My girl, thankfully, she's the complete opposite of me. I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, you probably know. I mean, I've been in, I got almost 28 professional fights. I already hit 28 street fights by the time I got to my freshman year in high school. So
yeah, yeah,
it was a little bit different, and I think it was my upbringing. My dad was kind of a man's man, and my mom was a single parent. My dad wasn't around all the time, so I wasn't raised with a confident parent that was. I'm an older dad too. I had my first son when I was 39, 40,
mm,
39. So I feel like I'm a little bit more educated. I'm a little bit more mature in terms of being able to give a young child, because I know, I mean, everything you teach your kids, he's going to learn forever, and
for
whether
sure.
they like it or not, or they even take your advice, it's still instilled in them. And I just, it's a scary feeling, man. And you're already almost not, you're never done being a parent, but you're
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
done legally, and you make mistakes along the way, and I'm making mistakes every day. But I think the best recipe is just to love your children as much as you can. If you love them, then they feel loved, and they're not worried about other people's
Right.
um, opinions of them.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation yesterday with somebody about being a dad. And in the process of having that conversation, I did some research and I didn't realize. I mean, you kind of like common sense know that being a dad and being in your kid's life is really important. But I didn't know statistically how important it was because the statistics show that like just being in your kid's life as a dad will drastically increase their chance of not being in poverty, going to jail, like not dropping out of school, like not abusing drugs, like so many different factors just from having a dad in their life. And so, I mean, that just validates how, what you're saying, as well as like my philosophy on being a dad too, man. So yeah, I mean, I give you your kudos, man, because growing up without a dad, that doesn't always necessarily lead to, when you're a dad, being the dad that you were raised with, as opposed to being the dad that you are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's all kinds of variables too. I mean,
Mm,
the mother, she may not
yeah.
want you in the picture, and she might be able to, saying stuff just, if you split time with your kid, which I hope I never have to do, and you have I'm not going to say female or male, but if you have one parent, you spend time with them and they're just kind of ragging on that other parent, and then it's just a terrible thing, and
Yeah, it's
you
not
know
healthy.
it's not healthy, and I witnessed it, I experienced it, like your dad's nothing, your dad's not here, your dad doesn't care about you, and I and it affects kids. I'm did it affect me? Like, I don't know, but I'm not. Who knows? Like, back deep down in my subconscious, like, if it did something to me, I just know that being a dad is like one of the coolest things I've ever done, and it just kind of my father passed like in 2000, and we didn't really have that great of a relationship, and
Mm,
he passed away of cancer. So he told me he was having cancer, and I went to go see him, and it just wasn't the same, because it's like, bro, now looking back, it's like it was just Father's Day, and I never really get emotional about my father, but Father's Day I was really emotional because I'm a dad now, and I love my children, and I
right.
can't imagine not being there for him. And my dad
Right.
wasn't there, and one of the things I was just like, my dad never even seen me play. He saw me play t-ball once, and it was one of the most like heartbreaking things for me as that kid, because we didn't even. It was like a scrimmage, and we didn't. He didn't even get to see me play in my uniform.
Mm,
It was just like you just wear whatever you want. It's like a
mm,
scrimmage, and I just remember that. And then going through high school, like I did some cool things wrestling. You never see me wrestle live. Going into college, like I was a two-time All-American. I was in the national finals. You never see me do that. And then not only that, then I'm fighting on TV,
right.
sold out crowds on the main stage, and he never had the opportunity to see that. And this Father's Day, it really hit me for the first time since he's been gone, and it was I was just super emotional, so I went for a run and ran as hard as I can to try to get that emotion out of me. And then as soon as I was done, I came in and grabbed my sons and loved my sons, and just you know I just I love my kids, and I just think about it. It's like, man, how come he wasn't there? It's something that I question. It's something that eats away at me. But then I think about it, it's like, I don't know the whole story. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what he was going through. I don't know what my mom was saying. I don't know what was going on. I just try to remember the good times we had, and
Right.
because if not, then I'm just gonna be a angry, upset person,
Yeah.
and I try to get away from, because my whole life I was an angry, upset kid, and that's probably where a lot of the bullying came from. Me feeling bad about my life,
Yeah.
putting it on other people, and now that I'm older, I can kind of, understand that and comprehend, like, why I was such an angry kid, why I was like, what's up? Let's fight. After school,
Yeah.
like, well, let's fight now. Let's not fight right now, because if I get suspended again, my mom will beat me up, and that's the reason why I started wrestling.
Yeah.
It was an outlet for me. I had gotten in trouble again. Vice principal was like, I'm gonna call your mom, and I was like, dude, please do not call my mom. You have no idea like what she's gonna do, because my mom was old school. She would beat the crap out of me, like,
Hmm.
not belts, like extension cords. She would really whip me, and I pleaded with the man, please do not tell my mom. He's like, okay, we'll just come to wrestling practice, and I went to wrestling practice, got the crap beat out of me, and I liked it so much I showed up the next day, and I've been wrestling ever since.
No way. That's how you started wrestling?
Yeah, yeah, it was
Oh
because
wow.
because I got into a fight at school. It was like the
That's
second
that's
fight.
that's dude. That's divine intervention, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's You know, I mean, I don't really want to talk religion, but you know, I'm Catholic, and you know, I believe in that stuff. I believe you know, I was put in that situation for a reason,
Right.
and I was given that opportunity to basically save my life because I
Yeah.
wasn't much of a school person, but you had to have good grades to compete. So I was in a way forced to get good grades just so I can compete, just so I could do something that I love. And
Yeah.
that was one of the turning points of my life. And to this day, I'm super grateful that that happened.
Yeah, I mean, touching on something you just said about, being the reason why might have been bullying somebody else is because you were going through your own troubles. I was reading up on bullying, and it said that they did some research and they found that the kids that bully and the kids that are bullied are going through the same things. They're just expressing it in different ways. And I thought that was like, I mean, it may sound like duh, like a duh moment, but to me I was like, whoa, dude, that's pretty interesting. So it's kind
Yeah,
of just
and
like it's how that kid is either internalizing that hurt and that pain or externalizing it. So I mean, it could go either way.
yeah, and you have, you know, you said you had an author on your podcast not that long. Maybe his outlet was writing, and
It
that's
was,
why.
yeah.
My outlet was the broken home that I saw. You know, my mom whipped me, so when she was mad, she would whip me. When I'm mad, like, what's up? Let's
Yeah,
fight.
yep, yep.
You know, I grew up on Fruit Ridge and Stockton. Like I grew up in the hood. Like my whole life, I've just been seeing fighting, all this stuff. Like people getting arrested, drugs, and all that stuff. I mean, my mom tried to shelter me as much as she can, but there's only so much you could do when you live on Fruit Ridge and Stockton. You know, like it's just in my face. I mean, the first place
Yeah,
we lived, we moved from San Francisco to Sacramento. We moved 24th, and it wasn't even MLK back then, but we lived in Oak Park, and you know, it's just something that made me stronger, and it's something that I strive to. I don't want my kids ever to have to deal with that. You know,
mm-hmm.
and I go back and forth. Like I want my kids to have a rough life because I want to teach them work ethic, and I want them to be strong, and I want them to know that they can do and accomplish anything in life.
Right.
But I don't want them to have to go through seeing this stuff that I saw. I don't want that for them. You know, so it's like it's a thin line. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I want them to give them the best life, but I don't want them spoiled. So
Yeah, I
so
go through the same things, man. I go through the same things. I feel like I've come to the decision that I'm gonna give my kids everything that they need, but there's also things that they're gonna have to earn. So it's just not going to get handed to them. They're always going to have anything that they want. Like if they need whatever they need, I'm going to give it to them if I can give it to them, of course, but they're going to have to earn it. You know what I mean? So it's going to have to come at the cost of a grade, or it's going to have to come at the cost of some other responsibility. It's not going to be like, well, daddy can get it, so I'm just going to give it to you. I mean, I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but I feel like I do the same thing that you're doing, like battling with that idea of saying like, man, I want them to kind of like have it like a little bit rough so that they know what it's like to, you know, be strong with these things, but at the same time, like I just want to give them like the world.
yeah, I for any of the new parents out there, I read a book called Raising Lions, and it was just kind of like eye opening, you know, and you know, just and like I don't hit my kids, and I don't plan on hitting my kids. Um, and any parents out there, it's a great book, and I recommend it. Even if you don't like to read, you know, I got the hard copy, and I listen to the audio book when I'm on my runs or I'm working out or I'm doing whatever, commuting back and forth. It's a great book, and it kind of touches on all that kind of stuff. And man, I don't know. I feel like the last couple of years. I mean, I'm 40, but I feel like the last couple of years I've grown up so much because of this. I mean, I've owned a business for 8 years. You know, I've been all over the world, but the last 2 years having my child and understanding and like you're saying, like researching and trying to get information to why this happened
Right,
and how to not let it happen for our children, for our seeds, to make it
right.
a better family, to make it a better family. It's like uh, man, I
It's
can
hard,
go on and
man.
on. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard, but I mean, you're doing the work, man. So like, just that alone is gonna be, just so beneficial to your kids and your community, man, because you're already doing like a bunch of stuff that they're already gonna look at their dad as a hero, man. So just that's just like more for them to admire about you. Before you go, what kind of advice would you give to any youngster out there that might be going through something? Like, what would you tell them?
That everything you're going through is just it's temporary. You know, it's
For
temporary.
sure.
Like whether it's the good or it's the bad. So you take it how you want. You can be positive, you can be negative. If you're going through some crazy stuff, you just gotta, stay positive, work hard, be happy. Be happy and just know that if you're going through hard times, eventually it gets better. It always gets better. I mean, I can't really say that about some of the kids that are sick, but I'll tell you this, if you have a negative outlook on what you're going through, if you have cancer, if you're negative about the cancer, that you're gonna fall to cancer sooner than if you have a positive outlook like I'm going to do this. All I got to do is work hard, or I got to figure out a way. Like I use cancer as a because it's in a lot of cases a death sentence.
Right.
What can I do? Well, you can have a positive attitude, you can work out, you can look for information, you can ask other cancer survivors, you can eat better. There's all kinds of things you can do, but the
Yeah.
minute that you have a negative outlook on it is the minute that you lose. You lose. So everyone gets dealt different hands, positive and negative. You just got to take those and just try to be positive and try to be happy. It's I mean, that's what I got. In 41
Nah,
40 40 years of life, that's what I got. Like you're gonna come up to these ups and downs, but just remember that, it's you know, I tell the guys it's peaks and valleys. Sometimes you're at the peak and it's great, but sometimes you drop down to that valley and it's terrible. But just remember you can climb back up to that peak and enjoy that that moment, enjoy that positivity, enjoy all that. And I think I mean I don't know. I wish I had something more meaningful to say.
no, that's
You should
very
you should
meaningful.
you should have emailed me this question. You're like, here's the ender. Now maybe I would have had a little bit more time to come up with something a little bit better than that. But
No, man, I
I
think
think
what you're saying is the mindset, man. And I feel like even in my journey to this point, man, like I still am trying to make sure that I have that kind of mindset that you're saying as often as I possibly can. Because, when people ask me about the grown man sessions and they think it's like, oh, you're just trying to define like a person like that doesn't exist. I'm like, no, man, a grown man is a journey. To me, like grown man sessions is a journey. It's something that we're all going to be doing for the rest of our lives, no matter if we're doing good, if we're doing bad. It's just stuff that we're just constantly learning and working on within ourselves. So I think that's great advice, man. Like I think having that mindset of how you see things and controlling that part of your experience is it can be life changing, man. And you know being around the type of in my opinion, mentally and physically strong individuals that you work with, I mean, I'm sure you see it like all the time. So
yeah. I mean, I see it. Everyone's different, but being positive, everyone can be positive.
everybody,
Everyone can have a positive outlook on it, that's what it's all about. I mean, I had some terrible business deals happen along the way with the studios where I lost thousands of dollars, like a lot of money that I was just like, what am I gonna do now? And in the minute that I was down and negative about it, it's just like everything's worse when you're negative. You're upset. Like the people
hmm
around you feel that. They often it's a vibe, bro. If you have a positive vibe, people want to be around you. If a negative vibe, you're just like, get away from me with
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I think just having a good outlook on life and just knowing that I don't like to say it can always get worse because that's negative, but it can always get better.
right,
That's a positive way to look at things, and I think with that's helped me through some of the most darkest times in my life. Just like, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And mom saying, "Mijo, you gotta be happy. You gotta be happy. You got your family, you got your health, you got all these great things." And me, I'm looking at, the $80,000 I lost on a business deal. I'm just like, dude, like so mad, like want to beat people up, and it's just there's nothing you can really do except have a different shift in the mindset, and that'll take you further than being negative.
Yeah, my philosophy is I have it tattooed on my arm, man. It's hell on earth, but heaven in my mind. You know, so no matter what you go through, I completely agree with you, Danny. No matter what you go through, you have control over how you're viewing these things and how you're processing them, man. So thank you, man. I really do appreciate you sharing all this stuff with us. I feel like I've gotten something from it, and I feel lucky that I'm blessed enough to know people like yourself that are willing to share stuff with me. Because in the process of learning and hearing your experience, I just hope that whoever's listening gets the same type of effect and gets the same messages and the same lessons, man. So thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you would like to plug? Anything you want to give a shout out to? Anybody you want to like recognize before we go?
Right, I can't believe we've been on for an hour. Man, that's crazy. It's easy to talk to you because I know you, but it's easy to talk to you because these are the things that life's all about.
Yeah, man.
So I'm glad. I'm glad that I was able to do this podcast. I mean, I'm in Vegas right now. I got a fight this Saturday, but I was I'm glad I did this because at first I was like maybe it's a little bit too much. Maybe I just might bail and just reschedule. But I think a lot of the things that we talked about and we touched on is hopefully will help a lot of people in the future. New dads, kids are getting bullied, and entrepreneurs, people that want to make a difference in their lives. I hope that what we covered um, can make changes in their lives. And bro, I love what you're doing, and I'm here anytime. And if there's any of my fighters that maybe you want to talk to, I can't guarantee it, but I can talk to them and tell them that, bro, you're the man. You're the man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, thanks, Danny, man. I really appreciate that, man. That's the goal, man, is just to try to spread the word and try to get us grown men having these conversations, man, because I feel like we don't talk about these things enough. So thank you for your time. Good luck on the fight, and I'll be watching and rooting and tweeting and all that good stuff, man. So send my love and my respect to your fighters, man, and we'll be catching up with you later. But before I go, I always tell the audience that it takes that one person can change the world, but it's one person at a time, and that one person is you. Peace out. See you guys next time on Grown Man Sessions. In the meantime, follow us on social media and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Peace out.